Video, I'm going to demonstrate how can we utilize game review to analyze a chess game. So this is an example, and we play d4, d5, bishop f4. This is queen's pawn opening, and then we have like a little system. So all the two moves, d4, f4, are book move, and black played knight c6, and the engine suggested knight f6 is better than knight c6, and I think the reason is quite clear, because the c6 knight is blocking the pawn, blocking the c pawn. So black could potentially move the knight to d7 in a later stage, so the c pawn can be pushed. So knight c6, but in this position, the engine does not quite indicate why is knight f6 is suggested. This is something we need to interpret ourselves. And I'll play c3, and also the engine suggested e3. I think the reason is we can first of all open up this diagonal. Maybe we can develop like square bishop as soon as possible. And also, if we compare these two pawns, the c pawn is more likely to be pushed to the 4th rank. It has a support from the light square bishop, and we can attack the center. So yeah, it's better to push the e pawn first. And knight f5, knight f3. This is a very good move because there is a star indicating that's the best move. f6. So, well, it's not common to push the f pawn in the opening, because first of all it opened up this diagonal, it's easy to be attacked. Another thing is it's blocked the g8 knight, there is no very good position for the g8 knight to be developed. So that's why the engine suggests e6. And also thinking about the e5 square, I don't think it's easy for black to push upon the e5, because black have 2 defenders, but white have 3 attackers on e5. So white keep pushing e3, g6, and bishop d3, offering a trade. And this type of signal indicates inaccuracy. That does not necessarily mean a bad move or mistake. It's just the engine thinks there's a better move than that. So, for example, the engine suggested push upon the c4 to attack the center, to open the center, and I have a feeling it's because black played 2 not common like pawn moves in opening, which means the piece's development is quite slow. And in this case, it's better for us to open up the center as soon as possible. So that's why I think white suggests, the engine suggests playing c4. And let's see, I click on this is the best move for black, but what about the best move for white? c4 is the best, and we can click show moves. So the engine will return us a bunch of moves. Okay, e6, knight c3. Yeah, I think it just because the engine suggested we should open up the center and develop knight to c3. The c3 knight compared to knight to d2, the knight is more active and more closer to the center. It attacking d5, and also at some point maybe we could move the knight to b5, the attack c7. So white can be more aggressive because black is slow in piece development. So bishop d3 offering a bishop trade, queen d7, and okay, so the engine suggested that we should trade the bishop. And I think, yeah, I think the reason is still as the last one. Okay, so yeah, I see, because if we take the bishop and if the queen takes, we can win the c7 pawn. So black has to take the bishop with the g pawn, and the pawn structure is really bad for black, and also this diagonal is open, so we should take the bishop. And in this game, let's switch back to the review mode, and in this game with queen c2, black castle. Now the c7 pawn is safe because the king is protecting the pawn. So as the evaluation bar shows, it's quite equalized in opening. Pawn takes, and 92, and it's just to castle, make king safe, because the g2 pawn, I think black is going to attack g2 very soon, so maybe it's better to protect the pawn. And also, if we look at the position, maybe it's wise for white to open up a c file, like push upon c4. So knight c3 is still something we can consider instead of 92. Rook e8. Black is still thinking about open up the center. I don't think that's a good choice, to be honest. Maybe still like attack the g file. Engine still evaluate rook e8 is the best move. I think the reason is, yeah, the king is still at the center, so we should thinking about open up the center first. That also makes sense. Bishop g3, e5, the pawn is pushed. We castle, knight h6, a4. So, yeah. Okay, so engine suggested knight h4, attack the f5 pawn. I feel like the move is yeah, the reason I think it's obvious, attack the f5 pawn. This is weakness. But I'm also thinking, how should white attack on the queen side? Maybe a4 is not very recommended here, because imagine we push the pawn a6, black can simply close the queen side with b6. So maybe c4 is something like the engine still think about. So push the a4, a5 is not the best way to open up the files. But I think knight h4 is something. Let's see. Knight h4, and I would show moves, a bunch of moves. Oh, f4, interesting. Okay, white chose to attack the king side. A lot of piece exchange, and we can control the f file, attack b file. So the engine suggests a lot of moves, but I think the signal is quite clear that the engine thinks white should attack on the king side. And probably that's right, because if we don't control king side, I think black's going to move the pawn to f4, and black can attack our king side. So maybe we should move the knight and later push the pawn to f4 to stop black playing f4 and open up this f file. So this is the file our rook can control, and there are two weakness pawns. Yeah, because it is not very promising if we want to attack on the queen side. Even though let's say 1, 2, 3, if you move the pawn, even you move pawn to a6, black can close the queen side very easily. And yeah, so b4. Yeah, I think the arrow here, or the mistake label here, because the engine doesn't think white has any chance to attack on the queen side, even though you push b5, a5. Let's say b6, still you need like 1, 2, 3 more moves, and black can close center with a6, and we don't have the c file open. It's very hard to attack the further on the black king, but black can push the pawn to f4 to attack the king side. Yeah, this is a great move. So I think we have some problem. So take, black resolve the double pawn and open up the g file. I think white has a problem right now. So the engine also evaluates black is minus 1.5, like better than white. Okay, so the engine suggests move the rook out, potentially queen h3. Yeah, so the g file is something black should control first. Knight to f5, a5, and the engine suggests that we should move the rook. I think the reason is this is only open file, and a file a6, b6. How can we further attack the black king? So I think it's more about which side should we focus on for white. And I agree with the engine that the center file, or I think center file, the E file, is something we need to focus. Otherwise, once the two rooks double at the G file, and yeah, if black pieces keep like evolving to the king side, we will have big trouble. Exchange, queen G4, rook G8, queen F5. We force a trade. That's a good move. Forcing a trade to simplify the position, turn the game into end game. And these 2 pawns are weak, and we need to figure out a way to attack that. Knight e4, that's good. Our knight is at a very good position at the center. Rook e1, f3. So black want to resolve the isolated pawn, but it actually makes the pawn even weaker, because when the pawn at f4, there's no white piece can attack the pawn, but once it pushes to f3, it's under attack, and black has to protect the pawn if they want to. Rook e3, that's good. Exchange, and also maybe rook d3 is also something good. So white has won a pawn. That's a great advantage in the end game. And b6, and okay, e1. Probably rook d1 is better because we can attack on the isolated pawn. Knight e3. Knight e3 is a little bit blocking our rook, but it's not. I don't think that's a big problem. Knight e5 is suggested. Maybe it's more active because we are also starting knight c6. It's a fork, so kind of forcing black exchanging our knight. And also once the knight traded, our rook can reach e5, attack the pawn directly. But if we move rook knight to e3, take rook e3, we still need one more move to attack d5. So knight e5 is more active and faster. King c7. Okay, king c7 is a problem because we can actually pin the bishop, and the bishop cannot move. So we should move the rook to e8. a5, take. 96. Okay, this is a mistake. I think the reason is the same as the last one when the black moved king to c7. I think we should ping the bishop. Let's see what is the best move suggested here. 96. Best move is, yes, rook e8. I'm pretty sure this is the best move. And I'm not sure if we can fork later to take the bishop because the rook pawn is really annoying for a knight. It's really hard if the knight is far away from the rook pawn. But we can pin the bishop. That's important. And we can also move the rook to a8 to take the pawn. And also later move the king to the center. So rook e8, that's definitely the very good like positional move to make the two pieces at the back rank. I think the only way black want to resolve this problem is to move rook to h8, but as I said, I can move rook to a8 and we can win the pawn. So yes, we move knight to e6. Undo here, right? King c5. Rook e5 want to attack the pawn, but I think the angels still think rook e8 is the best move. We can get a very good like positional advantage to like freeze these two pieces. Rook e5, king c4. I think the problem with winning the d5 pawn is once the bishop and the rook is activated, black has a really strong passed pawn, and the king position is also better than us. So the king and the bishop and the rook can help the pawn promote. But a4 is not good move because we can win the pawn. That's a really good combination. This is really good. Rook b7, okay. Maybe rook h5 is also good. That's a very interesting endgame. So we have up 2 pawns, activate the king. This is a bad move, because after we trade the bishop, I'm definitely sure white can win. I think maybe move the king to f6 is even better, or g6. Oh no, we should simplify the game, because it's pretty sure that if we win, if we turn the game into king plus pawn end game, we have up 2 pawns. These 3 pawns are connected. We're definitely easier for us to win. Trading a pawn is I'm not sure. We just make the game like complicated here. King h7, yeah. Move the king further could be good. Activate the king, because in the end, as long as we can promote with 1 pawn, it's enough. We don't have to push 2 pawns. Yeah, fine. h5. But it's good, yeah, it's good for us to activate the king, to kind of to forcing the black king or bishop away from the corner. That's good. Okay, knight e6. That's what we want. That's a really good move. And a very good planning to maneuvering a knight to reach e6. That's good.